Hello, I'm Shane Carlson with IT Chronicles 10 and Tech here at Knowledge 17. We're here with Johan from ServiceFlow, also with Carlos Casanova, and we're here to talk a little bit about ServiceFlow and what you guys are doing in the integration space. So why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of what you guys are bringing to this and how you've been working with ServiceNow and a lot of the various integrators out there to kind of solve and simplify some of the problems that they have.
Sure, thanks. So basically what we do is we are an integration service provider, and we remove the need to develop the integrations but also maintain and support them. And especially in ITSM space, as you know, we don't have any standards. Yes. Like IT is not a standard, which means that even though you have two similar ServiceNow systems, which is one is on the end user side and one is at the supplier side, the data model is different. It's always unique, and that's the way it should be, because people should be able to use their own tools. So what we bring is the kind of the adaptation layer, so that these totally different tools and processes can be adapted without having to build this point-to-point approach anymore.
Excellent. So what are some of your customers doing? I imagine this would be tremendously valuable in like the SIAM space, where you're in a multi-service provider environment for a lot of the larger MSPs. You know, how are they applying this and you know, solving real-world problems for a lot of their customers?
Well, especially in SIAM and multi-sourcing, you need suppliers to cooperate. They need to be able to exchange data and information. So that's what we bring in as out-of-the-box solution. And also for the end-user side, we bring flexibility and control, so that they have, even though they are, as in SIAM, typically the end users are not as much in operational role, but they need to own the data. Yes. So we can help them to own the data, have the visibility and transparency to the supply chain.
What would you say is kind of the biggest barrier to success that a lot of the customers that you're walking into now are having with getting all of their service providers to work together on the integration front, and you know, managing data across these multiple platforms and being able to demonstrate the value?
Yeah. Well, as you know, in many cases companies are just looking at this from their own viewpoint, and that's actually the fundamentals of SIAM, that you have this common way of working, and you need to adapt to that. And if you take that kind of approach to a technology layer, it means that people are just, you know, trying to having their own ESBs, a bunch of sockets, and they think that's an integration. So there are a lot of the technology-driven approach for this in this area, and I think that's one of the things. And also, I would say that the maturity of companies understanding how important the use cases are. How do I want to work with my suppliers? So the end users should, or SIAM providers should own the vision. How do they want to operate this whole thing?
So you know, for folks that maybe aren't that familiar with the product, do you do predominantly just the transformation from one tool to the next so that they can transmit it? Do you do any sort of massaging of the data in between for data quality and that sort of thing? So just for someone that maybe isn't that familiar with your product, what happens in the box between the front and back end of that?
Well, of course we are able to provide that kind of enhancements for the processes, and typical example would be, or actually my favorite example is change management, where you might have an incident and the other guys might not have an change modules available for integration. So we can change the incident to a change or another way around, so that the processes don't have to be equal.
So you can get it in the hands of the right people to do the work and then bring it back into the system of record, so you can track and do all of that.
And that's related to different IDs in the tools. So since many of these integration platforms are stateless, so it's really difficult to manage different IDs. Whereas as we are in the middle, we are having this cache of different IDs in different systems, so that you can have in ServiceNow you can have an incident with different tasks, and you can integrate those tasks with different tools on the other side.
So there's one to many, many to many, one to
end-to-end.
Oh, nice.
A lot of flexibility, which I think is essential, especially when you're in these multi-provider spaces where everybody has a different approach, a different set of processes, a different set of tools, to be able to kind of unify that, especially for the customer point of view, because that, in my experience, has been the biggest struggle customers have, which is how to make all these complex things work together. And so from your point of view, when you go in and you start talking to a customer, how do you sell them on this value? Because I know sometimes it's very difficult for a lot of clients to kind of see. They see the complexity, they see the mess, but they don't see, how do they start pulling that apart and finding the value in that?
I would say that the first thing is that companies should focus on the right things, which is then, if you think about service management, it's a business support.
Yes.
So if you have to choose to take your best integration people to develop the integrations on business support services rather than like ERP, logistics, if that's your core business. So basically what we provide is that you can focus on the right things. We provide all those business supporting stuff as a service. I would say that's the first thing. And of course then there are two kind of integrations are two-folded, so that integration projects are difficult, they're complex. But running the integrations, that's even the harder task, because there are a lot of like companies, suppliers that are changing constantly.
Things aren't standard, like when they come in and after you define them, they don't stay stable that way?
And they shouldn't.
They should, but
they
never do,
we have this thing called continuous service improvement, so things shouldn't be.
Well, and once you bring humans into the equation, as actors in any part of the process, that's where a lot of the variability comes in, and you can't sometimes anticipate how people are going to use the things that you build for them. So
that's a really good point, because these are human-driven processes. People, process, tools, as you know. So, and that said, I would say that people should be able to keep their own tools and have the kind of tools develop independently without having to worry about what happens on the other side.
It's funny too, because you think when you're laying that all out, you've thought of every variation and how they might have created it or input it, and then you get this other one, you're like, wow, never even thought about that one, how it come through, and that's what you guys are sort of saddled with, right? Is taking all of these variants and trying to massage them into, okay, it has to come out of the machine this way, so that the next one comes in, and but that's it's a huge, it's been an ongoing challenge. I mean, a lot of global organizations, they have multiple service management platforms. Because at the global, they have, company A, on a regional basis in North America, it's ServiceNow, but in APAC, it's a different one. So it's, then you guys have to, basically you're saddled with bringing that all together, huh?
I would say that the federation is the key, and now it's about federating the processes, not the tools.
I think one of the biggest issues I've seen, especially in the multi-provider space, is not so much getting everyone to work together. I mean, that's a big part of it. But once you do that, the harder part oftentimes is divesting yourself of a supplier. If you've built an entire technology stack around a process or a set of processes, when you remove a supplier out of that space, you literally have to go back and redo everything. And this is where something like Service Flow coming into the space can help you just kind of plug and play with a lot of those suppliers and say, this is how we integrate. And when someone goes away, you just turn off that integration. It doesn't affect the rest of the workflow.
I have a client that's dealing with that, and they're going through that, questioning, how do we do it? Do we do it? How much will it cost if we do it? What sort of impact will it be on us if we do? But I mean, very few large organizations have I been into that don't have some level of, we can't move away from MSP X, and that gives you a little bit of abstraction
and also,
from there.
And I would say that we have to always look at these things from the business and end user perspective. And traditionally, when companies change suppliers, end users are affected. There will be a new portal, there will be a new tool, there will be a new email address, there will be new phone numbers. And our kind of message is that you should stop harassing your end users. They don't want to know about it. It should be invisible. It should happen somewhere behind the curtain. And that's one of the things that we can bring in, that you can just change the suppliers without having to harass the end users. Just ramping up new tools, testing all those weeks and weeks going testing down something that is not really bringing any value.
I think you guys have a really good opportunity here in the space to kind of help clear up with something that's been a tremendous amount of confusion, complexity, and expense for a lot of companies.
Well, we did this for 20 years, and then we just had enough
Yes.
And we decided to provide something for the space.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. I mean, like I said, I know from from a client perspective, I hope you have tremendous success, because I could see a lot of folks, and looking forward to talking to you again and seeing how you're progressing.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you guys.
Take care.